I'm Cynthia James, and this network is about changing lives one woman at a time. We are changing the world one woman at a time. We're changing neighborhoods and communities and families one woman at a time. And I get the pleasure of introducing you to extraordinary women that are change makers, that inspire me, and that are here to tell you that you are a gift and you get to bring your light to the planet just because of your passion and your fire within. So my guest today is someone I have known for quite a number of years. I consider her a friend. She's also a naturopathic doctor. Her name is Dr. Debra Rouse, and she's passionate about working with people who are looking to achieve vibrant health naturally. She has extraordinary areas of focus. Listen to this. Women's health, vibrant aging, regenerative medicine, peptide therapy, hormonal health, including bioidentical hormone therapy, autoimmune disorders, IV therapy, and microneedling. Well, I got a lot of questions, but welcome, Debra.
Thank you. Thank you. It is awesome to be here and see your lovely face. And you're just so good at what you do. I could just sit here and listen to you all day.
Well, thank you. But I'm so happy to introduce you to our ladies, because here's the thing. I think a lot of times people just feel like people came on the planet and they just dropped in and they knew what they were doing, their purpose was, and then they just went on to be successful. But tell us, how you grew up and what led you into this field.
Okay, how long do we have? Well, my background. I grew up in Southern California. My parents split when I was fairly young. And in one household was my dad, who was an actor doing the whole Hollywood thing, very clean-ish lifestyle, early health food nut. So at that time in the late 60s and 70s, that meant artificial sweeteners. Everything was sweet and low this, or maybe CW post granola was the healthiest. But he introduced me to this idea of kind of healthy lifestyle, getting natural sun and everything. And then, God bless my mom. She's an amazing, amazing woman. But I grew up with lots of, cigarettes, just pervasive through the household, alcoholism, so wanting to escape that and finding what really worked for me. And then fast forward, growing up, I actually ended up moving to North Idaho when I was 17. Finished high school there, went back to college, and one of my long-term boyfriends that I had from junior high, but we went to college together, he got cancer when we were, I think, juniors or seniors in college. And also, I should say, I have experimented with vegetarianism since I was age 12. So I would go on and off of that, always really interested in nutrition, always very athletic. Not in the team sport, except for softball when I was younger, but just in keeping myself really healthy, whether it was going for a run, lifting weights, or going to the gym. Maybe I started that when I was like 15 on my own. And I can remember, I'm going backwards a little, but back in high school, I joined this gym. It was like a 25-mile drive because I really lived in the middle of nowhere. And they had this offering, a nutritionist named Covert Bailey. Do you remember that name?
Yes.
Fit or Fat, I think. So Covert Bailey, it wasn't him coming to speak, but it was one of his devotees. And, at that point, I'm 17, 18 years old. I'm like, I'm going to go to this nutrition lecture. And it kind of blew my mind. And anyway, so I was always kind of in college, the roommate to go to for who's going to cook healthy food, who can I ask questions about nutrition. And honestly, I should have just majored in nutrition, but I didn't. I wanted to be Katie Couric, so I wanted to be a news broadcaster. And I studied in France. And when I went to France, I realized how much I didn't know about what the heck was going on politically in the States, but also they opened up my eyes to new fields of medicine. Homeopathy, herbal medicine, their list of pharmaceutical drugs, that was so far down the list. If you got you didn't feel well. They approached it very differently. So that opened up my eyes. And then come home to the States, and I changed my major to international relations. And that is when my friend got sick with cancer. So I took it upon myself to dive in because I was going to heal him, of course, and figure out, what's the best route for him with his non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Is it conventional medicine, chemo, radiation? Is it herbal medicine? And during my discovery process, I discovered naturopathic medicine, and I was like, what is this? Meanwhile, I was a senior in college, and I was like, not going to change my major, even though I knew the light bulb went on. I was like, oh my goodness, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. But I just needed to graduate and be done. And I was already kind of involved taking herbal medicine classes on the side. And but I thought, I'm going to graduate, then I'm going to revisit this, give myself a year. And that's basically what I did. I had to go back and get my prerequisites for med school, all the sciences, and then kind of blasted off into that whole world of naturopathic medicine. Meanwhile, my friend is thriving. He's still living, and he did do a combo of everything, Chinese medicine combined with radiation and chemo. He did colon hydrotherapy, fasting, clean eating, and then he became a licensed acupuncturist. So it's really a full circle, cool healer story.
Well, it's awesome. And what I love about this is, like, you didn't go into school going, oh, I'm going to be a doctor. You went in and started exploring what was lighting you up and what was igniting you.
Yes.
So I want to talk a little bit about why there's a lot of focus for you on women's health. Why is that important to you? And pull your hair just back a little bit. I think I hear a little bit of clanging okay, I just want to make sure good, beautiful. Thank you.
Okay.
So why women's health?
I think that I was always a natural mom, even from when I was younger. And I've always been drawn to working with women. When I was in school, I did the OB/GYN track. So we did home birth. And there were some programs where you could, say, go to some third world countries to get a whole lot of births in birthing centers. And that was such a magical process for me. Once I had my own children, I didn't continue on with the obstetrics part of my training or my practice, for that matter. But I feel like women are so underserved. They don't feel heard when they go to talk to their doctors. They, historically are meant to, especially when they're going through perimenopause and menopause, historically, doctors have put sort of blame on them, like, you're crazy. You're imagining these symptoms, get over it. Or they medicate them more with things like Valium, and they don't really look at where the imbalance is. So I felt like, and also to mention, in the past, whenever they would do drug trials, they would do them on, the majority would be men. So the way pharmaceuticals and herbal and nutritional medicine work in men is different from women. And I just felt like they were very underserved. And it's just a population I'm naturally drawn to. My work with the girls in India and anti-trafficking awareness and efforts. And it's just where I'm called to serve.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, I love that. And listen, I have been the subject of doctors not listening to me.
Yeah.
And prescribing things that I knew weren't right for me, and acting like I was being bitter and angry because I was resisting what they were telling me. So thank goodness there's people like you. And in your bio, you talked about vibrant aging and regenerative medicine. And I want to talk about that, because here's the thing. I know there's a lot of people on the planet who are baby boomers. I'm one of them. And so a lot of us are looking into vibrant aging. But what I'm noticing in some of the people I'm working with is some of these 30 and 40-year-olds are like starting to think about this now. So why is vibrant aging and regenerative medicine important?
Well, what's the alternative to that, honestly? We used to call it anti-aging. We're not against aging, but we're about aging gracefully and vibrantly and radiantly. And I think that those in their 30s and 40s, why wouldn't they want to hop on board with that? Because I don't know about you, Cynthia, but I can look back 20 years and say, oh my gosh, what I didn't know then, if I knew it now, I wouldn't be having to do all the things I'm doing now. I wouldn't have to work so hard at regenerating the damage that I already did. So the more that we can prevent damage in our 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and really work on optimizing everything throughout our life, it just makes vibrant aging kind of part of the natural process.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I'd love to talk just a little bit about, you know, I'm noticing that, a lot of women are starting to notice things happening in their bodies and they go, well, I think my hormones are changing, but they don't know what to do about it. And so first of all, can we just talk a little bit about some of the symptoms that could show up around hormonal imbalance? And then what are some of the routes that women could take that may not be traditional?
Great question. Gosh, the symptoms are all over the place, especially as you're, say, approaching perimenopause, which is that time between when you may be menstruating and then your cycle starts to change. Maybe it's shorter, maybe it's longer, maybe it's heavier, maybe you're starting to notice you're getting sweatier or colder, or you're gaining weight, you're not sleeping well. I would say the hot flashes, the poor sleep, and the weight gain are the biggest complaints that I get. And for some people, it's like heavy bleeding, or it's when they're earlier, maybe it's an infertility issue. So that's a sign that things are out of balance. And it's not always necessarily a sex hormone issue like estrogen or progesterone, but maybe it's a thyroid issue that we need to look at. And you have to look at the whole picture. Like, what is the lifestyle? Are they sitting all day? Are they getting exposure to natural light? How are they supporting their natural circadian rhythm, which is one of the simplest things that we can do, but we overlook because we're just kind of Netflix TV junkies, and we allow a lot of bad light exposure to kind of pollute our brains and our bodies and our eyes. And so there's a lot of little simple tweaks that we can do to help with more optimization.
Yeah. So I just want to ask a couple of questions. First of all, what's a peptide and what's peptide therapy?
So we have hundreds of thousands of peptides naturally occurring in our bodies. Peptides are protein signaling molecules, and they are a series of amino acids that are chained together, and they're short chains of amino acids. So less than 50 linked together would qualify it as a peptide. And then depending what amino acids they are in combination, that determines what the peptide is. And I like to think of it as like a doorbell, like it's ringing the doorbell on your cell saying, hey, wake up, time to act. And it kind of helps push the body's natural healing ability into action. Like, so sometimes maybe it's for the immune system, or sometimes it's for healing connective tissue and ligaments. And it's reminding the body that it has the wisdom to do what it needs to do and the tools, but a lot of times we ourselves fall asleep or we're toxic. So peptides can be used for so many different ailments, but also just that whole idea of regenerative, healthy, vibrant aging. It's been such an incredible journey for me, and I'm still learning so much every day. I was just in another webinar and part of this peptide society, and everybody has different ways of how they are supporting people with peptides, but they're mostly, as you know, delivered subcutaneously with an injection. So you really need to talk to your doctor about that process before you want to recommend that somebody does that on their own or start surfing the internet to learn about it. And, you know, that's something I would really recommend if people want to learn more about peptides. I love talking about them. They can reach out to me. But there's a lot of fun ways to use them. I will say that. And in terms of like women's transitions, it's not like a menopause peptide. However, there are peptides that help with skin aging. There are peptides that help with cognition and mental clarity. There are peptides that help with joint aches and musculoskeletal issues. And then there's peptides that help with libido. So there's so many options there. And so it's not like I take this for that. We want to, as a naturopath, I'm all about identify and treat the cause. So get to the bottom of the cause. Can this be treated by balancing hormones? Should we work just with nutrition? Is it a whole lifestyle overhaul? And then let's put some peptides in to help, boost everything and get you motivated so you can see some positive change. It's a delicate dance, and it's really fun to put it all together.
Well, I love this, and I love how you talk about it, and I love how conscious and caring you are with your clients. And, you've supported me through the years through a lot of, roller coaster rides, and it's been incredible. And I just want to say, in the midst of all of this, you are married to a doctor. You have two young adult daughters. You hike, you're an outdoors person, you're an amazing cook. And so I want to just talk a little bit about how have you managed the balancing? Because I know, your husband has a business and you've supported there too. How have you found balance to stay focused on what you love doing and still be a nurturing, caring place for family?
That's a great question. And as I said, I've been a natural caregiver since I was really young. And, when you come from an alcoholic situation, kind of just learn to take care of yourself. And that's not saying that my mom wasn't amazing in many ways, but I just, that natural caregiver. And so for me, self-care was always super important. It was never an option. Like, I knew it was so necessary. And so as a doctor, I can be hard on people because I don't buy excuses, right? People are tired. That's a huge complaint too, just fatigue. So not everybody wants to roll out of bed. I don't always want to roll out of bed and then go hop on my Peloton, but I do it because I know it makes me a better person. And it's that idea of putting on your own oxygen mask first. Cliche as it is, it's what you do. And then as a mom, I'm setting that example for my girls in self-care. And it's really fun, to get their text as they're living their young adult lives and like the cool self-care rituals that they're doing. I just am like, yay, because if I just talked about doing it and said, you need to do this, you better exercise and you shouldn't eat so much sugar. But then I was just sitting on the couch or eating chips and sugar all the time. Like, I just think part of it is setting an example and also just walking my talk. I'm not going to preach something to my patients that I wouldn't do myself. And I know I was sharing this with you the other day, and that is how much I love India Ari's music. And so one thing I have been revisiting again is every morning I love to listen to the track Strength, Courage, and Wisdom. And I'm sure you know the lyric. It's been inside of me all along, right? And if that's all we remember, just listen to that song every morning, get your butt out of bed, and just remember strength, courage, and wisdom. It's been inside of you all along. It's inside of me. It's inside of you. Some people think, I don't know what to do. This person is just born with purpose. She knows exactly what she's doing. No, a lot of us are just doing it because if we don't do it, we're going to shrivel up and let the weight of the world take us down. But you have to begin with courage and strength and just be that example that you want to see.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I always ask the same last question, but before I ask you that last question, how do people find you? How do they get in touch with you and get some of your amazing wisdom?
Thank you. My website, which I am in the middle of kind of shifting, but it's still live and working, and that is drdebrarouse.com. So DRDEBRAROUSE.com. So they can contact me through the website. I think my Instagram is just Dr. Deb Rouse. And then I have a business Facebook page that's Dr. Debra Rouse. All of those regular routes, you'll find me.
Yeah. And ladies, what I want to say is run, don't walk. She is a plethora of information and knowledge and wisdom. So the last,
let me add one more thing too. And if your listeners would like to come and see me, I would like to offer 20% off a visit, my first visit with me. That usually lasts 90 minutes to 2 hours. It's a very in-depth interview, and we could do that via Zoom or in person if you're in the Colorado Front Range area.
Beautiful. Okay, 20% off, ladies. Did you hear that? You know, just mention Women
Tell
Awakening.
them Cynthia sent you.
Yes. So here's the last question.
Okay.
What is the one thing you want women to know about their awakening? The most important thing you want them to know about awakening?
That their voice matters, that their physical presence on the planet at this time is no accident, and they matter, and to let their voice be heard, and that self-care is not an option.
Beautiful. Well, Debra, thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful you're on the planet and doing the work you're doing, and that you're available to support the feminine in awakening to her health and well-being. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, it's my honor. Thank you for having me.
So ladies, come back often. Every week I'm interviewing new people, extraordinary women, and I want you to know exactly what Deb said is correct. You're important. You matter. You are here for a purpose. I believe a divine appointment. And so all you have to do is say yes to your life, and then the universe will sync up with you and send you all the information and resources that you need. I will see you next time. Many blessings to you.